today, the topic that I have been assigned is to talk about motivation, which is something that we know that most of the students are kind of struggling with. I will not say students are struggling with. I think sometimes I catch myself also being lazy and unmotivated and not wanting to do anything. But with our generation, I would say there are periods, there are little episodes that happen where one doesn't feel up to something, or you don't feel like giving your best. But after COVID, another pandemic took over the world, where everybody, especially the younger generation, because of the distractions, because of technology, because of digital engagement, because of a, a faraway land which seems like much more uh, fantasyful and promising. So everybody is kind of absent from the present. Nobody is interested in the process, right? When young children see others, especially influencers, making a quick buck and earning millions, when they hear people creating unicorns at the age of 21, there's a young Indian at the age of 16, she's running, I do not know, a 200 crore company. They get so enamored by all these things that they forget that what it takes to reach there is more important than what people have achieved, isn't it? So I know all of us, we educators, we are struggling with one common main point, that is how to keep the students motivated, and also we ourselves remain motivated to contribute, because when there is complete silence, lull, you don't see much of participation, you don't see that hunger, that desire for learning, you don't see that learning translating into something tangible, right? We start doubting whether it's worth investing in this generation or not, isn't it? That kind of lowers our morale also, and our engagement also decreases, because we generally compare our own enthusiasm as students with that of this young generation, right? So coming from psychology, I understand this struggle that we all, academicians, educators, teachers, mentors, are going through, and the lack of commitment that we see from our students, and even that lack of preparedness to understand that where is it taking them, isn't it? So many years ago, Robert Frost has written that beautiful poem, wood is lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. So this generation has just got stuck and got lost in the dark and lovely wood, not knowing the need to get out of here and live in the real world rather than the real world. So it's a very contemporary challenge that all the educators are facing and going through. And I, in my own way, will try to give you certain tools to deal with your own lack of motivation, and also certain little tools in the classroom that can be used to engage the students and keep their participation high, and dealing with their issues, and helping them out as and when required. So let's start with a story. It's called the hiking camp story. Why am I going to start with this story? Anybody? Why am I starting with the story? We are talking about motivating students. So why start with the story? I would like everybody to respond and participate, because stories are the best tool to engage people, isn't it? From times immemorial, we have got up listening to Zataka tales and Panchatantra and Aesop fables, isn't it? So stories is one way to engage, right? And before that, if you saw, I started this session by addressing certain pain points. Okay? If you want to keep your students motivated, if you want them to listen and engage, you must be able to show it to them that you understand what they are going through, you understand what their pain points are, and not just that, you're also going to give them certain solutions to that, right? Okay, now we belong to an age where, honestly speaking, the relationship, the equation between the educator and the one who is getting educated has changed a lot. I think you will all agree with me there. Um, all the information and knowledge that we share with them, it's available just a click away. Honestly speaking, you and I have become irrelevant now because whatever a student needs to understand, they have the luxury of reading, studying, accessing that information at the time of their leisure, at the time that they want, in the place that they want. But when we were growing up, the only sources of information were teachers and parents, isn't it? So age kind of commanded some respect, correct? However, the generation that we are teaching now has everything at their command, has everything at their beck and call. I remember when we were children, 2 minutes Maggie happened, fast food happened, right? Quick, easy meals available. And now Blinkit says anything, any damn thing under the sun you want will be available to you within 10 minutes of your requirement. Isn't it? So look at the sense of entitlement these children have and how they can get away with not planning things, with nick of the hour decisions, right? And of course, they are being raised by parents who have done well in their lives. They are the offspring of the corporate generation. We are offspring of maybe the industrial revolution generation, or maybe the farmers and the cultivators. So they have a lot of privileges, isn't it? So to be honest, they are growing up with such a sense of entitlement. Smaller families, they don't need to share much with anybody. Single parent families, most of the times, many a times, at least in the larger cities, right? So they know whatever belongs to the parents belongs to them. Parents are also very indulging because sometimes there's lack of time, sometimes even there is lack of desire from the parent, right? So as a result, this generation has very quick and easy access to any information, any content, any stuff that they want. So you and I are actually redundant when it comes to asking or seeking help for information or probably for knowledge, right? So my question to all of you, what is it that we teachers can provide to our students that Google cannot? Uh, yes, emotions and emotional support. Absolutely, sir. What else? You said it. Bang on. What else? A teacher can provide which Google cannot. Why should they come to us? One is emotional support. Absolutely. What else? Does anything else come to your mind? Or you've all given up that this generation is hopeless? We are not going to invest in them. Interactions, human touch. Absolutely, sir. Human touch, isn't it? Interactions, emotional availability, right? Your own presence. Okay, always remember we have three basic human needs: emotional attachment, a positive environment to understand through interactions. So, very, very well said, Mr. Shekhar. Confidence, yeah? The environment, the ecosystem that we can provide, the safe space that we can provide to the students so that they feel heard. Okay? We all know there are three basic human physiological needs. Yes, can you recall? Three basic physiological needs. There was a Hindi movie also made on with the same title. Anybody, you can unmute and speak up, please.
Food, ma'am. Food. Three basic food.
Food, water, shelter, clothes, isn't it? So, anybody, food, shelter, and clothes. Absolutely right. Now, those of you who are part of North India, you know there was a movie made, Roti Kapda Makan. So, like we have three basic physiological needs, we also have three basic psychological needs or emotional needs, right? And I really earnestly request all of you to write it down, because once you understand this, it's not just going to help you have a better relationship with your students, it'll help you have better relationship with your spouses and your own children too. Okay? Those three needs are need to be seen, need to be seen, need to be heard, and need to be valued. That some for somebody I mean something, isn't it? So if you want your students to engage in the classroom, please make them feel seen, heard, and valued. Students are not just roll numbers, and I know for them, for you, they aren't. But how do you make them feel that they are really wanted in the classroom? That your classrooms don't seem to be as colorful without them as they are with them? How you listen to them when they're sharing something or when they're talking to you in some manner, whether it's a garage, whether it's a personal thing, how attentive you are, how present you are to your student, or for that matter, anybody, you give them a message that I value you, you're important for me. And let me tell you, we all crave being valuable, being important, at least for somebody. It's a wonderful feeling to be valued, to be loved, to mean something to somebody. All right. So, in your classroom, how do you make people feel seen? Right? So, ask a lot of questions in the classroom and pay attention to anybody who is wanting to answer that question.
Madam,
Right?
actually, first,
Yes, sir. Please carry on.
first we have to know their names, madam. That is most important. We should
Yes.
call with their names.
Isn't it?
How many are doing? If there are 60 students are in the classes, how many staff are knowing the all students' name?
You said
So
it. The name,
the name we should know of each and every one.
hardly any. You said it, sir.
Yeah.
Right? Because name is the sweetest sound. Our own name is the sweetest sound to our ears. So if you can connect or associate the name with the student and call them by their names, this is the first message you give to them: you're important for me. So they are not just roll numbers. You just don't call out their names for the roll calls. You call out their names every time you want to address them, right? First thing. Second thing, let us say some student has been absent in the classroom for very long. You're taking attendance, you saw that student joining the class after 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, right? Pause. Raise your eyes, make an eye contact with the child and say, hey, where were you? I didn't see you for 4 to 5 days. I hope all is well. What I'm trying to say is that we got to bring in that human element to our classrooms to make somebody feel wanted, right? Then only they would be interested to be a part of your classroom. Second thing, how you make somebody feel heard, how you're present when somebody is expressing a perspective, how you show respect to someone's opinion, right? The age group that we are teaching are young adults now. They are not children, right? So when you treat your students as young adults and give them the due respect, which probably you and I also expect, and treat them as very kind and very, well-behaved humans, the vibration of your classroom changes, right? And third thing is making them feel valued. There's a very beautiful concept of one of the African tribes. It's called Ubuntu. The full form or the translation, literal translation of Ubuntu is I am because you are, right? And I think we all experienced it during COVID. The classrooms went empty, the colleges were locked. There was an eerie silence in the physical, corridors of the classrooms and the institutions because there were no students there, right? Visit your college on a holiday on a Sunday. There's nobody to kind of make us feel a teacher, right? So Ubuntu says, I am because you are. So if you have the courage to let your students know that my existence is because I am a teacher, because you as students are present in the classroom, right? My existence as a teacher depends upon your presence in the classroom, rather than being the big ego heads which sometimes we teachers are. We start commanding respect from the students. It is not possible, right? So how we can make somebody feel seen, heard and valued? They come, be approachable, be accessible to your students. At least listen to what they want to share and tell and talk to you about, right? The there are so many bureaucrats who have started using open door policy. So where public is not scared to approach a bureaucrat. So similarly, as teachers, how accessible you are to your students. Are they permitted to be their authentic real selves in front of you? Do they feel heard by you? Is going to make a lot of difference, right? And as somebody has very rightly put, emotions, how empathetic we are. See, we all need to understand that it's really burdensome to be an adolescent and a young adult in this age full of distractions. Sometimes tell them, I feel for you. I know what you go through. I know it is so difficult to stay focused with so much of fun and fanfare going around you. I get that, right? So when somebody feels understood, automatically the connection is very strong. Another very powerful line or one liner that I wish to share with all of you is, if you really want your students to be motivated, to be engaged, if you really want to strengthen the bond that you share with them, and when I say student, I'm not just talking about students, it could be anybody, your own children. Many of you would be parents also. Remember, and you can again pick up your pen and paper and write this down, connection before correction. We got to connect with them first, right? And then try to correct them. That authority that was associated with being a teacher is gone. See, I don't have a job, but I run my academies and my students, they come, they get taught, they build their skills, etc. Now, many times what I feel is when the students they begin their courses, it's not a teacher-taught relationship. It's a service provider and a service seeker relationship. They don't approach me because they have paid the fee and they are here for some time to learn a skill or to complete a particular course. So the demandingness in their voice or the mindset that they come with is not that of a student but that of a service seeker, and I'm treated as a service provider, isn't it? Because obviously there is complete commercialization of education. So they see me as somebody whom they have paid a set amount and they are here to seek a particular kind of service. It takes me some time to make a breakthrough that from that mindset and re-establish my identity as a teacher rather than a service provider. So please understand, with privatization and commercialization of education and health, well, at least I get clients now. And it takes me some time to translate, to convert that client into a student. What is your experience here? Would anybody like to share their perspective on what I just said just now? Is it just what I feel, or is it a common experience of educators? May I hear somebody?
So, sorry, unable to answer this question, madam. Sorry.
Okay. What college you teach, sir? Which subject do you teach?
I teach engineering physics, madam.
Engineering physics. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay, sir. I respect your um, asking the question at least. Okay. So, yeah, I was saying that if we want our students to connect or to be participative, right? We got to make them feel seen, heard, and valued. Okay. And also a simple phrase like connection before correction. How you connect with them, first of all, how you make them feel valued. Okay. Now, to make a connection with somebody or to engage somebody, it is so important that this acronym. The acronym goes like W, 3 times I, FM. Again, you all can write this down. W, 3 times I, FM, which is what is in it for me. I repeat, what is in it for me? Which simply means that why should I listen to my teacher? Why should I go to the classroom? What advantage or benefit would it be if I be present? Right? What difference is education going to make to my life? Isn't it? So, if through our classrooms or the content that we are sharing and teaching to our students, we are able to show them that it is going to be of some benefit to you, or there is something for you in it, they will be more ready to be a part of your classroom, right? To do that, you got to show some real life relevance in what you are teaching to them. How the concepts that you are teaching them they can execute in their real life, probably for earning a livelihood, for earning money, for making a status for themselves. How you can connect the knowledge in the books or the content in the books with the real life aspirations of your students, it is very, very important, isn't it? So, the real game is all about helping students see relevance in what we are teaching to them, right? And the real life execution of the concepts that we are teaching to them. And also, I understand that a lot of syllabus that we teach them, it's becoming um, irrelevant, isn't it? It is becoming completely non-contemporary, right? But then, what tips and tricks you use to tell them how important it is to understand the theoretical basis of the constructs if they want to have sustained uh, kind of a lifestyle? Because students are so enamored by quick money, quick buck, that now their role models are not the hard-working kind of people. Their role models are people who know how to whisk money overnight. But then it's your and my responsibility to show them that how this overnight success actually disappears when you do not know how to manage it and sustain it over a long period of time. Right? So that is why I said, certain tools like storytelling come so handy in the classroom. To give you one example, if you recall, there is this show on television called Kaun Banega Karodpati. And the first man to win that 1 crore rupees was a some humble boy from Uttar Pradesh, right? Who was very hardworking. He was preparing for UPSC. That's how he could manage to win the show. Yes, absolutely, Shekhar. It requires listening. Yeah. Way to someone's heart goes through your ears. Remember that. Not through your stomach, but through your ears. Absolutely. I completely agree there with you. Right? Coming back to my story, and thank you for contributing. I appreciate that. So, this boy, he made 1 crore in that game show, and he thought that, this is an overnight windfall, right? And he didn't know what to do with that money. And he lost it all. It went like a blimp. And now I do not know, he's selling some vegetables to eke out his living. Imagine 1 crore in 90s he won, or maybe early 2000 he won. He did not know what to do with that money. So sustaining success is so, so important, right? Coming back to the art of storytelling, if you really wish your students to feel motivated and stay motivated, stop celebrating outcomes. Stop celebrating the consequences, but share with them how people have achieved the success that they have achieved. Tell them the stories about the hard work, the persistence, the grit that went in creating that success story that now everybody is celebrating, or the paparazzi is showing all over the way, and the whole internet is bursting with those stories, right? So the more we focus on the process and less we focus on the outcome, the more we celebrate the process, the more we talk about the process and expect them and ask them to refine their own processes, right? They will see some sense in effort. As if now the whole focus is on performance. Please understand that. Because performance is what is tangibly visible as an outcome of effort, and that's what is celebrated. That's what takes the cake. But to give that indomitable performance, which, leaves the whole world awestruck, it takes years and years of practice. It takes years and years of overcoming your own laziness, your own quit moments. So, the more you read about it and the more you share about that and the more you ask questions in the class, the more engaged they would feel, and there will be some realization that we are chasing some illusionary goal, and it does not happen without following the proper route. So my earnest request to all the teachers here, all the educators here, please read some self-help books. Get deep into the processes. Start understanding human emotions, because emotions is what keep us going. We are not logical beings. Trust me, my dear friends, we are biological beings. Had we been logical beings, each one of us will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. We will get up at the Brahma Muhurta, do the walking and the yoga and the physical exercises and eating well and morning me time. We would all do that. But we are biological beings. The instinct of laziness take over us, right? And we quit. We give up. It's not just the story of our students. It's story of each one of us. Isn't it? It is so logical for any one of you to respond when I ask a question. But see, there is no response. Everybody is just waiting and watching, just waiting probably for 1 o'clock to happen so that the session gets over and it becomes business as usual. Isn't it? Okay. Let me tell you this hiking camp
No,
story
madam.
too. Most of them are doing that, sir.
Madam, actually, for example, you said about questions, correct? Questioning students. And okay, madam, you continue, madam. At the end, I will ask. At the end, I will ask regarding questions.
Okay. But you can ask the questions, sir. Questions are always welcome. Do you wish to continue?
Yes, okay. For example, we should ask questions to different students, but we should never say who is right and who is wrong directly. This is the method I follow.
Yeah.
The same question I ask to different student, but I will never directly say who is right and who is wrong, so that they will
Absolutely.
they will never, yeah. So, but by taking the class itself, I will make them understand which is correct and which is wrong, so that no student will have any fear of asking questions. I mean, when we ask questions,
Yes.
they won't have any fear and all. They will come with the answer. So this is one method I follow. I ask question, but I will never say who is right and wrong directly.
This is such an effective technique, sir, because when you say right or
Yeah.
wrong, we discourage the students from answering the question whose
Yes.
answer wasn't correct. Isn't it? It'll be
Yes.
difficult
Yes.
for
Yes.
them to
Yes. Yes.
contribute the
Correct.
next
Correct.
time. Wonderful technique, sir.
Yeah.
So, this
Yeah. By
way,
by,
you're
by but the
focusing on the
yeah.
process
Yeah.
of answering. Hmm.
Yes, madam. Tell me.
Continue, sir. Yeah. So this way, you're focusing on the process of answering or bringing in the answers from the students rather than focusing on the end product, that is who's right and who's wrong. Right. So there needs to be a paradigm shift in our perspective. Let us all focus on the process, because trust me, if the process is right, the consequence is bound to be correct. But if the process is not correct, no matter how hard you try, there is no way you can reach the desired goal or the desired destination. Right? So, as teachers, I would request everybody to bring in few changes in your approach, because that creates more engagement, that leads to more participation, that opens up the mind set of the students, right? And shows them certain different dimensions, different perspectives to the same problem, right? So, first thing is, rather than giving them ready made answers, develop and learn the art of asking questions. Isn't it? Asking for their opinion, asking for their perspective, asking them what they think is more appropriate to be done in this particular situation, right? Or asking them what do they think went wrong because of which the desired answer cannot be achieved, right? So, we adults have this very strong sense of protecting our students, giving them ready made answers. This goes for our children also. Immediately correct them, immediately give them the right answer. Don't take away the capacity of critical thinking from the children, isn't it? When we ask them questions, they think for themselves, they weigh the alternatives, they think of so many different perspectives to the same thing, and that's how their thinking expands. So, one of my favorite questions is when somebody asks me a question is, what do you think? What is your perspective? What is your understanding of this concept? Isn't it? So that one is very clear that what is the level of understanding of that student, and then we build up upon that, right? So, first things first, please master the art of asking questions. Questions like one of it I said was, what do you think? Or what is your perspective on this? What do you think went wrong? What do you think is right here? What do you think can be modified here? Okay? Or what is your understanding here? So, the more questions you ask, more you are helping somebody to get out of brain laziness. And you're expecting them to think for themselves. Why is it required? Simple reason. We as parents and teachers are not going to be with our students forever, isn't it? We got to prepare them to be independent minded people who can stand on their own feet and have a perspective about the world, and also have the confidence that I can decide for myself, right? That I don't depend on
Yes,
an adult's, sorry, I don't depend upon an adult's opinion or a validation from an adult to be able to think for myself, right? So the first change that we need to bring is, rather than giving solutions, Let's ask them a lot of questions so that they can arrive at their own solutions. Hence, the process will be clear to them automatically. Another change that is required is let us focus on the process. Let us focus on the whole operations of a particular thing rather than too much focus on the outcome. See, as if now the whole education system is just focused on grades and marks. But with this obsession about grades and marks, what is lost is love for learning, isn't it? That desire to learn, desire to know more is lost. And just because it's the performance that matters, it's the marks and grades that matters, so students have started cheating. Because nobody's going to ask them, how did you get this? Isn't it? Anybody's going to just see their report card and praise them or appreciate them for whatever performance has happened. The more dialogue we will have, more communication we will have, healthier interactions we will have, more, your classroom is more of a democratic space where everybody is allowed to express their opinion, is what going to make your classrooms very enriched spaces for students not to just passively consume the information but actively participate in that information. Right? More questions you throw on them, somewhere somebody is going to get some ignition there, some spark, some flint is going to happen there. Right? So just bring these two small changes. And then third thing, engagement will be caused when they will see a lot of relevance in what is going on. When they will see that whatever is happening in the classroom, these are very handy tools. These are very handy strategies that can be used in real life situations, that can really help me wade through certain difficult times in my life. So use whatever subject you are teaching, physics, chemistry, mathematics, to teach some life skills to your students. Okay, my one question to all of you, and Mugunta sir, you are not going to answer. I really want someone else to answer this question. If you are shy of unmuting, please use the chat box and answer this question. And as many people answer it, I'll be very, very happy. I will feel that, whatever we are doing since last 45 minutes has been fruitful. And the question is, what is a plus b the whole square? Yes, I want the formula for a plus b the whole square. You can use the chat box, you can unmute and share your answer.
Ma'am, it is a plus b whole square.
Ma'am, a plus b whole square.
What is the
Ma'am,
formula,
a square plus b square.
Plus twice ab.
Ma'am, a square plus b square is equal to plus 2ab.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sameer ma'am, for your answer. Right? A square
Okay.
plus b square plus 2ab. And I'm sure everybody on this call, you know it. You know the answer. Now, my next question to all of you. How many times did you use this formula to solve a real life problem?
Not at all, ma'am. कभी भी नहीं.
Kabhi bhi nahi. Never. See how many things that we are being taught in the classroom, but unfortunately, there is no real life relevance to that. Okay? But now, if the same formula or if any damn concept that you're teaching in the classroom, you can show some real life relevance of that formula or that concept, right? Or how somebody can use it to handle something, day to day. They will thank you for that. Anybody who's teaching chemistry, all the chemicals, I do not know how you can correlate it with some real life thing in the life, in your student's life. The physics that you teach, how you can help them, solve a everyday problem with that or deal with some everyday technicality of their life. They will never forget you. They will remember you. My teacher helped me do this. I'm very lucky. My subject is psychology because it's all about human behavior. It's all about interpersonal interactions, conflicts, uh, and the complexities of human existence. So I know I'm lucky there because there is so much I can talk about in the real life, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law problems, husband-wife issues, parent-child issues, teacher-taught issues. But I'm very sure all of you are very creative. You can always think of how this concept can be relevant to doing something real life. Like, okay, I can help somebody with interpersonal things, but I cannot teach somebody what to do when an electrical socket or something like that trips. I have no idea what is to be done, but a physics teacher probably can help with that everyday things. Psychology cannot teach you how to change a bulb, right? But yeah, in a mechanics class, in an electronics class, there's so many things that can be done. So the more we equip them and more we empower them using the tool of education, education cannot be the end product. That's what I feel. Education is a medium. It's a wire media to reach to something that students feel is relevant to them, isn't it? So the more you understand what they desire, what they want from their lives, and how we strike a balance between the theoretical constructs and what they need in their real lives, I think we can earn a lot of respects and our classrooms will feel more enriched and brimming with activity because of that. Right? Okay. Coming to the hiking camp story, I just want you to understand that, how human psychology works when it comes to motivation. So here goes the story. A large group of hiking enthusiasts decided to go for a hiking trek. They gathered at a remote site in the Himalayas, and after reaching the site, they had food by the campfire. The colonel, who organized the camp course, told that the hiking will start the following day. There'll be an 8-kilometer easy climb and then 3 days of progressively steeper hike. Everybody understood that, what does the hiking experience going to be like? Day one was cold and rain made the arduous hike even more difficult to bear. Exhausted, the hikers reached the base camp. They camped at the beautiful site by the stream. So they walked for 8 kilometers, had food, and food never tasted better than that day because they were hungry, they were tired, they were wet. And one group decided to stay back. And one group said, we are done. Ho gaya hamara hiking. Next day, the walk became harder. People started dropping out, and many others decided to call it a day and discontinue their hike. This is what happens. As things start becoming progressively difficult, many people start deciding against it. Humse to na ho paega. We are not able to do that. Only 5 people made it to the top. Right? So out of tens and hundreds who joined, just 5 people could finish that. So on the basis of this story, there are 3 types of people. Type 1, just get to the base camp and say, I can't climb and quit. So they just do what is required for the survival. That is it. Very mediocre, very average-ish mindset they have. Type 2 survive to get to the top and they are ready to give what it takes. So these are also very few people who actually have the mettle, the capacity, the grit and the commitment to reach there at the top. And type 3 are 90% of people who stop once they reach their comfort level. When it is required to overcome the next level of difficulty, they like to wait. So we all just stretch ourselves till we feel or till we not feel uncomfortable, and then we try to call it quits. This is 90% of the population. So lack of motivation, lack of readiness is something which is so common, and it's not very easy to overcome this particular problem. Right? Now let's quickly see why is it that people remain unmotivated. So first thing first, the current environment. Right? The current environment is not just the place that we stay. It's the people we meet, the books we read, the content we consume. There's a beautiful saying which says, to be the Mount Everest, you need to be amongst the Himalayas. Right? So if you really want to level up your game, you can always share this with your students. If you want to level up your game, choose your associations very carefully. Right? So let us say you're somebody who's wanting to lose weight and become fit, and you have very good friends who are real foodies, who drop off the hat, they decide to have food outside, they are mindlessly eating stuff. I promise you, no matter how cautious you are, their very presence in your life and the choices that they are making is going to impact your health as well, isn't it? On the other hand, if you are a foodie but your four best friends are regular with their gyms, they are very mindful in what they are eating, right? And they are very careful about they are health conscious people. For how long you alone can continue to be a junkie when it comes to choices of your food and lifestyle, right? So the best gift that we can give to ourselves is a context that supports our larger life goals, right? So, my advice, my suggestion to everybody who wants to bring in some change in their life, have a community or a tribe with whom you share your goals. You have common outlook towards life. You have common commitments. That is why, nature lovers, they have a nature lovers group or a nature lovers club, or they have, a hikers club, or something like that, which keeps them motivated. It's very, very important to have a community or a tribe which really supports your ideology and your kind of mindset. If we are surrounded by people who have a different kind of a perspective towards life, who are lazy, who are satisfied with very little in their lives, and in name of contentment they're compromising on everything in their lives, trust me, it's very, very difficult to grow. Okay, so the more we rub shoulders with people who are performing better than us, right, our life is automatically going to become gradually one notch, two notch, three notch higher than where we are. The second important reason why people, or why students, or us also, I mean, it's as much true for us as for anybody else, are not able to stay on a goal or a target is this is, blame game. In psychology, we call it excuseitis, giving reasons, justifications, explanations for why you have not been able to do something, rather than staying true and staying loyal to what you want to do. So, we attribute it to parents, to bosses, to colleagues, to poverty, to our life circumstances, etc., etc., etc. Again, I want to give you a very simple example. The budget for the normal Olympics team was 200 crores and the medal tally was about 5. The budget for Paralympics team was 20 crores and the medal tally, we stood 13th as a country. I think medal tally was around 9 or 10. Imagine people with different kind of deficits in their bodies, anomalies in their bodies, winning medals for their countries. Someone did not have feet, somebody did not have hands, somebody was a you know had some kind of injury, but see, they did bring laurels to themselves and to their country, never played the excuse game, right? Whereas you and I, able bodied people with all the resources in our hands, right? We keep on pointing out things outside us why we are not able to achieve what we are not achieving. So many of you must be wanting to write a paper, write a book, start a new course, maybe look for a new job. I do not know. We all have goals in our lives, but we keep on procrastinating, right? And finding reasons and explanations for why aren't we doing that. Okay, imagine whose loss is it, how many man hours are going, how days are just passing by, and we are just dreaming and thinking about what we want, and not taking any action about that. Third thing that really disturbs our motivation is our dialogue with ourselves. What is it that you, or how is it that you address yourself and you talk to yourself? So, as teachers, as adults, it's again my earnest request to all of you, please stop labeling anybody. Be very kind in choosing the words that you use to describe someone. I was listening to a tiny podcast yesterday where one of the leading entrepreneurs in the world, he said that when I was 5 year old, it was on the context of Teachers' Day, he said, I heard my teacher telling my other kindergarten teacher, this kid is not very smart. And he said, okay, I pretended as if I've not heard anything and I just carried on doing what I was doing on. But he says, somewhere the memory of these words, it got etched in my mind. And I always grew up with this mindset, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough. He said, I was getting good grades, I'm doing fairly well in education also. I, cracked difficult exams. I pursued higher education from very reputed colleges and make the breakthrough that I wanted first in my job and now in my entrepreneurial journey. But he says, trust me. I always thought whatever I'm doing, it's not enough. I'm not just smart enough. Until he said, somebody started encouraging me and praising me for whatever I was doing, for all my small and big accomplishments and achievements, right? He says that encouragement changed my frame of reference. So, in case you really want to motivate somebody, learn 3 A's. You can again write this down if that makes sense to you. First A is attention, second A is appreciation, and third A is affection. Right? So, what people desire to progress in their lives is not criticism, not telling them what they are not good at, how broken they are, how useless they are, how non smart they are, how slow they are. Don't. Because this becomes their internal dialogue. That's how they start talking to their own selves. That's how they start treating themselves and they create a belief about themselves. And this kind of a child cannot feel motivated enough to do something big in their lives. So remember, my dear friends, this world does not need any more critics. The world needs more of motivators, encouragers, cheerleaders, handholders, and somebody who can pat somebody's back and say, you did it. I knew you will. So believe in other people, believe in your students, believe in their goodness and their capacity and their caliber, and communicate it to them very often. Do tell your children how much you believe in their caliber and their capacity, and tell them how well you know and you understand and you believe, how committed you feel about their success in their lives and they having a good life, rather than all the time fearing and being apprehensive about your future and your child's future and your student's future. Right? So, the story a child tells himself or herself is actually a monologue or a self talk or a narrative in their head which has been established by an adult who either believed in them or did not believe in them. I do not know who wants to hear this or who should hear this today, or maybe some of you would have heard this anecdote before. Einstein had learning disability and the school turned the child out, saying he doesn't have the caliber or we don't have space for such a child. We don't have the resources for such a child. They sent him back with a letter. The mother was very upset reading the letter, and when Einstein said, what happened, Mama? The mother said that the school has written that your child is so sharp, so smart, that with the given resources and in the given curriculum, we can't really do justice with your child's caliber. That one dialogue changed the life of a child who had struggles with reading and writing to becoming probably the most revered and extraordinary name in the history of science, in the history of physics. We say something like Newtonian physics and Einsteinian physics, isn't it? That's the power of words, which you and I mostly underestimate. We don't realize the damage that we do to a child by just being unkind to them. So again, my earnest request to all the educators here, be very mindful of the words that you use, either to describe somebody or to describe the kind of work that somebody has done. You are a magician. You can craft somebody's bright future just by the power of your belief and instilling that belief in the student or the child. Another important reason why students or the younger generation isn't really doing enough that they need to is assuming that there is still a lot of time. Procrastination and laziness is one of the biggest outcomes of the pandemic that the world went through. The health pandemic is over, but it left behind it a huge mental health pandemic, isn't it? So how someday actually comes never. There's so many things that we all wish to do, isn't it? There's something that we all wish to achieve, some goal so passionately close to our hearts, but we are just not initiating that. Can I again request all of you to put in the chat box something that you're wanting to do, but you're just kind of postponing it? May I please request everybody to use the chat box to share what is it that you had put on hold for very long, and just been thinking about doing it but not yet started it?
For me, no, nothing.
Nothing. Oh, okay.
If I'm thinking something, I will do it.
Oh,
If
wonderful.
if I'm thinking that something, I will do it.
Lovely, sir. Wonderful.
So I could not think of any. I could not think anything that I am waiting for to do these things. Something I cannot able to find at all.
That's really wonderful, sir, that you're so proactive that if you have something on your mind, you actually strike it off immediately. That's really, really inspiring.
Yes, immediately. Yes.
Wonderful. Right? But for others, you haven't
That
really.
means how we. That means how we utilize the time.
Absolutely. Isn't it? Because time
Yeah.
is finite. Our time is finite. So how we
Yes.
utilize it really matters.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And another important thing which really kind of mars our chances of doing well and doing better is overthinking. Remaining stuck in a loop, being apprehensive about what will happen if I do it, if I do not do it, right? And we call it analysis paralysis. We analyze the thing so much, we think about it so much, we are so mentally engaged in what would be the consequences of doing that thing or not doing that thing, that ultimately we get so tired cognitively that we do not have the energy to take action, right? So sometimes you just need to do it. Just pick up the smallest action that is required to accomplish that task and get over that, right? How do we reduce overthinking? So, first of all, we all understand that overthinking happens because of our engagement and over entanglement with whatever activity is going on in our heads, right? When I say that, I mean that, all our body parts are doing something or the other. The heart is pumping the blood, kidney is purifying the blood, all the internal organs are busy doing something or the others. All the glands are secreting the hormones, right? Similarly, like every other organ, brain also has a function, and the function of the brain is to think. I hope you agree with me, all of you, that the function of the brain is to think. Now, we don't, and if you are not thinking, either you are in coma or you are lying somewhere in the neurological department, or we are dead. Only two conditions when we are not thinking. Even when we are sleeping, we are thinking, and that thinking is called dreams. Okay? So now, we never entangle with the function of our heart. We never tell the heart, hey, you're beating so much. Why this palpitation? We are never bothered about the amount of urine the kidney is creating. We are never
मतलब
bothered about
करना तो सही
how
है,
much
आपका लगन करेगा
cortisols, our adrenaline has secreted.
अलग
Not
है सर।
bothered about the function
नहीं
of
करना,
any of the
वो अलग
body
बात है,
parts.
वो नहीं जुड़े
We
होंगे।
won't
राजन
engage in that, right? We engage with only one thing, and that is function of the brain, which is thinking. So please understand that problem is not thinking. Problem is our entanglement with the thinking. Please understand that thinking is nothing but a neurochemical activity in the brain. That's it. Right? And let us understand that thinking is real, but the content of thinking is not real. These are all assumptions. Right? So the less we engage with the drama that is going on in our heads, and more we witness that drama like audience and not become actors in that drama, automatically overthinking will reduce. So thoughts are unwanted guests. Don't welcome them too much. They'll keep coming and going like clouds in the sky, like traffic on the road, right? Don't welcome them so much that they are not ready to leave and they just stick around in the head forever because you have become such a good host to them. Right? So, thoughts are natural outcomes of neurochemical activity in the brain, and it's our over entanglement with the thought which causes the problem. Right? The more mindful you are of the thought and the content of the thought, and a more mindful decision you make of not becoming one with the thought, I think the problem gets sorted. Right? So that's how we tackle overthinking and analysis paralysis. Simply put, just do it. Nike's one liner, just do it. Do that one little action that will lead to warming up of your body and mind, and ultimately you will feel prepared. Okay, now how can we remain motivated in our lives? Please understand somebody that our
लेक्चर
brain.
अच्छा हुआ गया क्या?
एक पीरियड हाँ
अच्छा
वही तो लफड़ा हो गया अंदर।
Someone
Tiwari sir, you are requested to kindly mute your audio system. Thank you very much.
कर दिया मैम, प्लीज कंटिन्यू। सॉरी मैम, शिल्पा सॉरी मैम, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
Amansa, are you saying something? Okay. Now, for staying motivated, we got to have a positive mindset. But please understand that our brain has a natural tendency to get inclined towards negativity. In psychology, we say that our brain is a velcro to negativity and a teflon to positivity. Okay, so what happens because of that is we do not forget our failures easily, right? And we take success for granted, or we really discount all the good things that happen, and we keep on repeating all the unpleasant memories, unpleasant experiences, failures, etc., that happen in our lives. So if you really want your morale and the morale of your students and people around you to be up, there's a concept called learned optimism that we need to practice in our lives. Okay? And a very simple activity called WWW. You can do it in your classroom, right? WWW, normally it stands for World Wide Web. But in psychology, WWW stands for what went well. right? WWW stands for what went well. The day that you feel that you're very demotivated, life does not really seem to be very promising, or there is some major setback that you have kind of gone through in your lives, pick up a pen and a paper and sit down and ask yourself, what went well today? In my day, since morning, what went well? Right? All the good things that happened to me, right? Maybe the hot cup of tea that you enjoyed with your spouse in the morning. Maybe it rained right at that time that you wanted it the most. Maybe there was a compliment that was given to you by one of your student or colleague or somebody, right? Or maybe, your FD matured today and there's a lot of money that got poured in your account. So from any small thing to a big thing, sit down and acknowledge that. In fact, I would really honestly request all of you to, pick up journaling. Every night before going to sleep, review your day and ask yourself this one simple question: what went well? Go through your day. This way, what happens is that you're preparing your brain to remember all the good things that happen, because you know that end of the day, I'm going to recollect and recall all that. And also advantage of that is that, when you end your day at a happy note, recalling, recollecting all the good things that happened to you, you have a very peaceful night, isn't it? In other words, what is happening? You're counting your blessings, right? You can do this exercise at least once a week in your classroom also. You start your lecture. Okay, I'm not going to start with, my subject today. I'm going to ask you one simple question and throw this question on the class. Okay, tell me, class, what went well today since morning? And if somebody says nothing went well, well, that's a cause of concern, isn't it? Because it is just not possible that the life is so uneventful and we are so ungrateful that, you can't see the goodness in your life. You tell them what went well was you woke up today in the morning. There's so many people who just did not wake up. What went well today is so safely you waded through the city traffic, right? And you're in the classroom, isn't it? So tell them to recall all the good things that happen, that energize people to remain high on energy throughout the day. Yes. Another very powerful technique is this, and I really don't mind if you want to click a picture or a screenshot of this particular slide. So on the screen, there is a little mathematical, equation or formula or whatever. And may I request someone to explain what you see on your screen? What does that mean? What does that apply mathematically? And can you draw some conclusions on that? Anybody? Would you like to give it a shot? 1 to the power 365 is 1. 1 to the 1.01 to the power 365 is 37.7. Would anybody like to explain this to me? I'm sure there are so many maths teachers and physics teachers in the audience.
Ma'am, with the increase of 0.01, it has increased 37.
Yes. With just an increase, small effort can lead to such big changes. Thank you, Vikrant sir. Thank you, Mantulalji. With just a little bit of increment of 0.01 per day, end of the year, the compounded increment is 37.7. That is the power of compounding. And now this is true. This can be true with a small effort to change the big change. Absolutely, Shekhar sir. Now, if somebody is not even ready to do that 0.01% or 0.01, God bless them. They are happy being wherever they are. But if you desire, if you can, just bring this 0.01 ka change every day in your life, look at the humongous change you can bring in your life in different realms of your life. And let me tell you, this change can be Financial change, like you have started saving a little or investing a little more than last time. This can be health, well-being change. Yeah, that you've just started walking 5,000 steps a day, right? It could be one page a day, reading one book, one page a day. That's it. Anybody who's wanting to write a paper, write a book, writing one page a day. Okay, it may take 1 year to complete the book, but at least you got started and you're doing something consistently. And I don't think it can get easier than this, right? And we all need to do something in 3 areas of our lives. One, physical, anything. You want to go for a walk, you want to go for a jog, you want to do some pranayam, stretching exercises, grounding exercises, whatever works well for you. Go ahead, do that. One thing for our cognitive health, knowledge. Read something, listen to something good, watch something nice rather than mindlessly watching those reels, etc. Right? And one thing for our soul. Could be prayer, could be meditation, and just about 10 minutes a day, friends. Just about 1 to 2 pages a day. Isn't it? Because if you are walking only about 4 to 5 kilometers a day, which makes it around 5 to 6,000 steps, it's going to make it 150 kilometers in a month. And that's not a small thing. And it's going to make it 150 into 12. I can't quickly calculate those many kilometers in a year. What a lovely gift of health you're giving to yourself. Same goes for your students. Whatever their life goals are, all they need to do is do one small bit every day, consistently over the period of time. And let me tell you, hard work beats talent always. Talent without hard work cannot withstand somebody who is consistently working over the period of time to achieve something in their lives. Right? The next tip I want to share with all of you, which you can share with your students, is it's called the 10 minutes rule. Let us say you're reading a book and you say, okay, I don't want to do more. Right? You have gone out for a walk and you say, no more. The simple rule is stay with that one activity for 10 more minutes to see that you're not quitting it at your whim. We are hedonistic beings. We are driven by pleasure. Okay? If you can withstand that moment when you want to quit and stay with the problem, stay in the activity for just 10 extra minutes, you are sorted. Because there was this urge that happened in the body, right? There was this wave that came in, and you surfed that wave, and that wave passed, and you realized that now you're not getting impatient. You can sustain on that activity for a longer period of time. So share these tips with your students and your own children and see the impact they have. They are really tried and tested tools which all the successful people, entrepreneurs, professionals, they had been using to create the kind of life that they have created for themselves. Right? Yeah. And an important thing is what is called as learning to withstand the quit moments. Let me tell you, we are sum total of the micro decisions that we make in our lives. And micro decisions are the split second decisions. So in the morning, when the clock or the alarm bell rings, whether you're putting it on the snooze button or you're actually leaving your bed, it's a quick microsecond decision. Isn't it? So there's a cake lying in your refrigerator and you have decided that I'm really going to quit, sweets. So whether are you able to resist it or you actually gobble that? That's also a quick microsecond decision. So, those dilemmas that you resolve in that small period of time and choosing to do what is healthier for you, choosing to do what is aligned with the larger goal of your life, and do not succumb to the pressure that has been caused by a biological impulse, defines the quality of life that one will have in the upcoming years. Right? So we have this desire to check our phones as soon as we get time. So why not to keep the phone out of reach for some time, so that you will, it is not accessible to you. Like after 9:30, I try not to take my phone in my bedroom. When it is not accessible and I'm not able to sleep, I'm bound to read a book, isn't it? So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm sharing the tips that I practice, and not just, clear upadesh, that is preaching. No, right? So whatever, things we want to bring in a change, we all live in a default setup. We have developed muscle memories for things, and it's very, very difficult to overcome that. So, for overcoming some lazy habits, for overcoming some mindsets that we've been practicing for years, we have to put in a little extra effort, right? That little extra effort is going to give us humongous returns, and those returns, they really, uh, charge us and give us the feedback about how well we are doing on a given task, right? So these were the small little things that I wanted to share with all of you, uh, about how to deal with, the fluctuations that happen when it comes to our own motivation, and also creating a classroom where students also feel very vibrant, energized, enthusiastic to study. They feel like more being more engaging and participative, right? Rather than being very passively receiving the information that is being shared with them. I hope you found the session useful, even though there was very limited participation. But having said that, I really appreciate all the people who participated, shared their perspective, enriched and added something to the discussion that was going on. That really made me felt that okay, I'm doing something worthwhile. So thank you very much for being present, and hopefully being listening was. Thank